We got rule changes coming to football. Now, it's not the NFL making these changes. The UFL is instituting some very interesting changes. But before we jump into what those rule changes are going to be, if you are joining us for the first time, make sure you subscribe to our channel here at Big Game Energy. Get us over there on TikTok and Instagram as well. We post content daily all throughout the NFL offseason. We've got you covered. We're keeping you up to date. So, James, it came out this week that the UFL has some interesting proposals, and they're moving forward with some changes. What are we going to be seeing in the UFL that's going to be different this year?
They're going to start this upcoming 2026 season. There are 7 rule changes, Spencer. And the thing is, I want to ask you, out of these 7, which one would you like and which one do you think the NFL will implement? First rule, man, coming up, man, 60-plus yard field goals are going to be worth 4 points each. Pretty new. You know how it goes. We think, NBA want to extend the 3-point line for 4 points. UFL said, why not? 60-yard field goals are going to be 4 points. Rule number 2. This might be my least favorite, Spence, just because of going back in time, or should I say back in weird leagues. But 1 foot in bounce equals a catch. So UFL will be playing NCAA rules. 1 foot's a catch. Number 3, red zone penalties revert to half the distance to the goal. Rule number 4, the Tush Push is eliminated. I didn't even know they did the Tush Push in the UFL, but okay, whatever. Number 5, no punting inside the opponent's 50-yard line. So you have to attempt that field goal or go for it on 4th down. Pretty interesting there. Number 6 is overtime. 3 alternative attempts per team from the 5-yard line. Ooh, going back NCAA. I like that one, but I'll get you on your reaction. And number 7, the point after touchdown options. Now, Spence, you have 3 options here. Obviously, when you score a touchdown, you get the extra point when you kick from the 33-yard line. 2-point conversion when the ball is at the 2-yard line. And then there's a 3-point conversion starting at the 8-yard line. So imagine you score a touchdown, you're up 6-0. You want to go for that 3-point conversion at the 8-yard line, you could go up 9-0 in a heartbeat. Now, Spence, man, out of 7 of these rules that I just mentioned, which one do you like and which one do you dislike? And which one do you think the NFL might implement in the future?
Wow. Realistically speaking, I'll answer which rules of these 7 I think makes sense for the NFL. Really, the one I think that makes the most sense for the NFL would be the red zone penalties are half the distance to the goal. I think that's one that would make a lot of sense in the NFL. The rest of these, though, are pretty gimmicky. I know the NFL is always going to have the topic of discussion around the Tush Push, but it sounds like that's not happening this offseason, at least from everything we've heard so far.
Right.
But the rest of these are super gimmicky. You know how I feel about the overtime rule. That is very, very reminiscent of what happens in college football once you get to triple OT, and I absolutely despise that concept. You're playing a whole new different kind of game basically in overtime.
Correct.
Line it up at the 50 and do like a tug of war if you want to get gimmicky. Like, my goodness. I really hate the point after attempt as well. That 3 points, that feels too easy for an extra point. And even if that's not too far, but just having the ability to get a 9-point possession, I really don't like, because that changes up all of the football math that we have grown up knowing how to do in our head. Like, we know, all right, in this moment, we know what they have to do, but that's going to change up all kinds of coaching stuff. I hate the other NCAA rule they're trying to bring in, the 1 foot in bounds as a catch. Hell nah. Stop doing that in college and high school. Grow up and get both feet in bounds.
You're right. I'm with you there.
But I'll say this. I do like the one about no punting inside the opponent's 50-yard line. I do like that one. Force them to go for it. But I will say, there's an easy way to get around this one. If you take some delay of game penalties, you get back on the other side of the 50 and you can punt now. I could see that one backfiring and not working. I love it in theory. I just think coaches are smart enough to figure out how to work around that one.
Looking at some of these rules, of course, we think about the Jags kicker. What could the Jags do if a 60-yard plus field goal being 4 points? That's one thing. I hate the 1 foot catch. That's crazy. Tush Push being eliminated. I think I'm just sensitive to the topic.
Oh
Moving
yeah,
on.
as an Eagles
Moving on.
fan, you'll never ever get on board with that one.
And then no punting inside the opponent's 50. I like that, but of course, I think, like you mentioned, the coaches, they'll find a way to find that loophole.
Yeah.
The one I would hate, and this is just me. This is just me as a gambling man. Like you mentioned, changing the way we, always understood either a team's going to get 6 points, 7 points, or 8 points. Man, imagine having your square. Imagine having those squares, man, for the Super Bowl, and somebody's going for a 3-point conversion. God dang. Or like, bro, bad beats, bro. What would piss me the F off? Imagine if I got a +2.5. +2.5, bro. And you already know the team's going to lose by 1 or 2, but then they decide, you know what? Why don't we just go for 3? And then they win by 3. And I'm like, that's going to piss me off as a gambling man if I'm betting the UFL. Matter of fact, I probably won't bet the UFL. Let me just save my money.
But y'all let us know in the comments, what do y'all think of these rule changes that the UFL is imposing this year? And should the NFL adopt any of these at all? And again, if you haven't already, get us on Instagram, get us on TikTok, subscribe to us here on YouTube.
We'll see you next time on Big Game Energy.